So the idea came about through issues of density in Paris. And Dimitri did a subject last semester where they went to Paris and studied issues of density. And that was run by one of our university lecturers, Frank Minard. So we had brainstorming sessions, possibly too many, I'd say. Then we threw ideas together and did some preliminary testing. And the workload was mixed between Dimitri focusing on the drawings and the main concept, and I was focusing on the writing and the diagramming. And then we met intensively a few days before the deadline and worked it out.
Yeah. What we found interesting about this project was its close relationship to the just the general European economic and infrastructural network, which is something we don't have to such an extent in Australia. We don't have the same complexity or richness that we find in Europe. And this is what really interested us in this project. In Australia, we have a very car-driven culture. And as we approach questions of, dwindling oil supplies and ever-escalating costs of living, we're starting to look at alternative ways of structuring our city. And high-speed rail is something that has come up quite a few times actually in academic and political discourse, as well as media, which makes it very interesting for us to actually investigate in Paris and then sort of apply findings to our context here. The philosophy was based around reconceptualizing how a city is formed and giving personal transport, in particular the car, less precedent. And the result is, or the expected result is, a more pedestrian-scaled city. Our main ideas were firstly to envision a future where high-speed rail can be used on a daily commute basis. And it's a way to start rethinking sprawl and ways in which we can still live in a comfortable, almost suburban or village setting, but at the same time be able to travel to and work in a very dense cosmopolitan city. The car has allowed us to sprawl out indefinitely across vast areas, and this is a big problem in Sydney. While train travel, which is sort of the precedent for suburbia, allows you to live in the country and work in the city while containing the areas that are occupied to a pedestrian scale by virtue of the train stations being, or the areas around train stations being defined by pedestrian movement. I've been to Paris a few times already, and I've developed a level of familiarity with the dynamic between density and high-speed rail travel. I've been on the Eurostar a couple of times from London to Paris. Also been on the Shinkansen in Japan, and the thought crossed my mind: why not do this every day as a commute? Apart from being too expensive, what's really stopping us?
And also with Frank's studio, we came to understand Paris as a city is unsure about how it's going to progress in the future, population-wise and economy-wise.
Will it remain a city that's financially very important to Europe? That's the key question. Or will it become more of a museum city like Venice? And that's a question that Paris is looking at the moment with things such as the Grand Paris proposals by MVRDV, etc.
We chose it because it's a large and important station with close proximity to the Seine and Gare de Lyon. and we felt that the location would give good potential for a transport hub.
The 15-minute city concept or title, so to speak, came from us sort of considering how long the average person is prepared to spend travelling to and from work. And this figure is, as an agreed upon standard, is at around 1 hour each day in one direction. Which means if you split it up into a train trip that goes for half an hour, you're left with 15 minutes on either side of the journey, so to get from your house to the station and then from the station to the workplace, to work with. And then we decided to look at that 15-minute ring as a conceptual city in its own right that exists around each key station in each city. Hence the 15-minute city. It's a city that exists in Paris, but as well as Lyon or Reims, or any nearby city that can be travelled to by HSR within half an hour. The first thing we did was create a conceptual surface which defined the first stages of the private infill, as well as a reference point to sort of dominate this area. We then created a green belt which acted as the public infill as well as a public connection across both sides of the station. This followed with a land parcel system which helped us imagine how this could be constructed, and of course finished with a level of refinement.
The alleyway to the left acts as an active buffer zone between the station and the street. The additional level of activities around the station creates potential for new programs, and the interior benefits from this richness. Towards the south are the quiet areas of the station, such as the park, and gradually as you get towards the station itself, things become a bit more active.
The southern side of the station has a secondary entrance built into it to accommodate the 15-minute city travellers. The clock tower acts as a reference point for these specific travellers so that they can find their way back to this entrance in particular. The structures above the station will contain mixed-use programs including housing, offices and hotel space. The northern end of the station will act in much the same way as it has traditionally, with the clock tower being the reference points for the local area.
Connection to the local transport network will help push the boundaries of this concept of the 15-minute city. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm Michael.
I'm Dimitri, and yeah, we hope you liked it, and please vote for us.